I'm Avi Wolfman-Arent. You're listening to WHYY 90.9. This week was a quiet milestone in our city's COVID recovery. Or at least it was in the eyes of real estate expert Steve Gartner. Because
a lot of companies stuck a pin in their calendar and said,
this is the week we want our workers to come back to the office, or at least part-time. And so as Gartner took a Tuesday stroll around Center City, he was looking for signs of a shift, maybe a new normal.
And it was really refreshing to see office workers going out arm in arm, metaphorically, to lunch with other office workers. And I have not seen that in over 2.5 years.
Gartner is an executive vice president at CBRE. It's a commercial real estate giant. And I thought this was a good time to talk with him about the future of Center City, our region's commercial core. Typically, the week after Labor Day would be Center City's reawakening. Summer's gone, the streets are buzzing again at full hum. So, is that happening?
I think we are returning.
Returning. First, we should establish that the pandemic did a number on Center City. At one point, nearly half of the area's storefronts were either vacant or temporarily closed, according to data from the Center City District. That has slowly changed. Just this week, the Center City District said the storefront vacancy rate had dropped under 18%. That's the lowest mark since the pandemic hit. Still above the pre-pandemic rate, but trending toward it.
So we're right there with Georgetown, with Newbury Street in Boston, with other areas where retailers are saying, yes, we want to expand because we like that core Center City population.
And that's the key, the core Center City population. Believe it or not, there are actually more people living in Greater Center City now than before the pandemic. As a result, Gartner says the thriving businesses are the ones that cater to residents. Imagine places that offer weekend entertainment, upscale shopping. And who's floundering? The businesses that rely on non-residents.
If I have a restaurant on JFK Boulevard, or I'm in the rail concourse at Suburban Station, those areas tend to be a little difficult.
And this is where Center City has really changed. Let's go back to that new data from the Center City District. It says that in the before times, on an average day, about 150,000 people came from somewhere else to work in Center City. Today, still, that number is barely half of what it once was.
The idea that we'll have this 9 to 5 rush of workers all going into the box, all toiling in the box, all coming out of the box at 5, going through the turnstiles, getting on the train, I think will change.
While Gartner may have noticed a little office worker boost this week, he's not expecting the new normal to ever look like the old normal. And so I wondered, if that's the case, what's going to happen to all those huge towers, those cathedrals of office work? Gartner looks to the past for ideas.
We saw an entire cadre of pre-World War II office buildings on Chestnut, Walnut, Broad Street that were converted to residential.
He thinks that could happen again, office space becoming living space. Of course, he says it's very, very early here. Overall, Gartner is optimistic about where Center City fits in this new world.
Imagine a world in which you live in close by Center City, walk to your office at 11 till 6, go out to dinner, have a much more flexible and fluid schedule, one that's not necessarily set by the boss, but set by the times your team and your colleagues might be there. Center City, Philadelphia may be almost perfectly suited for that futurist view of how we will live and work.
Stepping back, here's the way Gartner sees it. The pandemic opened many people up to the possibility of making these huge lifestyle changes.
People were offered choices that they never thought they had.
All of a sudden, overnight, people, some, could reconsider both where they lived and how they worked. On that second question of how we work, it seems a lot of people decided that they liked the flexibility opened up by the pandemic. On that first question of where to live, Steve Gartner thinks the change did not really stick.
That's why I think urban living has shown its resilience.
So, Center City lifestyle, resilient. Center City work culture, not so much. And the combination of those two things may drive the future of our downtown spaces. That was the voice of Steve Gartner, Executive Vice President with CBRE. I'm Avi Wolfman-Arent. This is WHYY 90.9.
Come on, baby.